Okay, please welcome the genetic engineering groups.
My name's Kelly Siddell. I'm Hannah Gibbons.
And I'm Michael Pachowski.
And we are discussing the pros of genetic engineering, its histories, and regulations already in place. Hi, I'm Jillian Fulham. I'm Faith Gertis.
And I'm Wyatt Murray. And we are doing the cons of genetic engineering. Genetic engineering was first done in 1973 in the USA. Genetic engineering is taking genes out of a plant or animal and replacing them with other genes. Now, the genes that are usually taken out of the plant or animals are the good genes. They replace them with bad genes to get a bigger surplus of crops or to try and make the animals better. The 3 points we will be discussing on are human health problems, destruction of economies, and negative environmental impacts.
Genetic engineering is taking a gene and altering it to perform a different task. This technology was invented in 1972 by Paul Berg, who developed the cut and splice method, which involves taking a piece of DNA from the plasmid ring of a bacterium and inserting a new piece of DNA, which then replicates along with the bacterium. Genetic engineering has positively affected the world, for it has improved and advanced agriculture, medicine, and health.
Our first con of genetic engineering is that it destroys economies. And as you can see from this graph, the amount of genetically modified crops has increased dramatically from 1996 until 2012. This is mainly because large biotechnology corporations have invested their time, money, and efforts into genetic engineering. While they are doing this, they are isolating smaller farms, and the small farms are losing their prime sources of income, which provide for their families and allow them to afford their houses. And typically, if one person in a small town or community uses farming as their prime source of income, then other people within their community also use farming. And when the large corporations are taking over and selling their crops to the people rather than the regular crops to the people, then they will be jobless, and their entire community economy can be destroyed, and the people will be economically and emotionally distraught.
Agriculture is one of the most influential industries in the world. This can be because of the food and the clothing materials that it provides for us. In 1994, genetic engineering was introduced to the agriculture industry. Since then, it has blossomed. In a USDA report in 2002, it was discovered that HT cotton, herbicide-tolerant cotton, had increased by 10%, as well as BT cotton that produces its own insecticide. Together, these two things created a 3.8% increase in harvest. In the second study, in 2005, it was shown that 87% of the soybean crop was HT, herbicide tolerant, as well as 60% of the cotton agriculture was herbicide tolerant. In these ways, genetic engineering has made farming more efficient for mankind. Another con to genetic engineering is they have been linked. Genetic engineering has been linked with many human health problems. One of the major health problems is Parkinson's disease, another is Alzheimer's and gluten disorders. Gluten is commonly found in wheat and bread. Many Americans eat bread on a daily basis, and wheat is one of the most commonly found genetically modified crops in the USA. Another health problem is not in humans, it's in rats. They have developed tumors. Scientists have fed them genetically modified corn, and they have developed tumors in their brain. Over 89% of corn in the USA is genetically modified. Humans have developed many health problems and have left them distraught.
Genetic engineering has led to many advancements in areas of especially medicine. A very common example of these advancements is insulin, which is used by those who have diabetes. Insulin uses the same cut and splice method as developed by Paul Berg in 1972, except the human insulin gene is inserted into the plasmid ring, and the bacterium replicates along with the insulin. Another very common example of the development of medicine that is linked to genetic engineering is interferon. And interferon is a protein given to those with hepatitis, and it helps them fight off the viruses that their body would not be able to do otherwise. Also, TPA is administered to those, or tissue plasminogen activator, is administered to those with or at risk for heart disease, and it helps them dissolve the blood clots in their blood.
Genetic engineering has many negative impacts on the environment. If one organism in the environment is impacted by genetic engineering, it will also impact all the other organisms in that environment. If you have, say, a mouse at the bottom of the food chain consuming a plant that's genetically engineered, that will be changing its diet, which will be changing all of the other diets in that food chain. Genetic engineering also decreases the amount of genetic diversity in the ecosystem, which can decrease the ecosystem diversity. Genetic engineering also impacts the ways of life of animals in an ecosystem. So say you have an animal species that's been living in the same ecosystem for hundreds of years, and then you take it and change its characteristics and put it back into that ecosystem, and will then react a completely different way in that ecosystem. Also, it is often unsuccessful and leads to mutations and deaths.
Genetic engineering has had many positive effects on health, such as the treatment of VAD, or vitamin A deficiency, which is due to the lack of vitamin A in one's diet. Nearly 1/3 of children across the world under the age of 5 are affected by this disease. It causes blindness, poor immune system, cancer, and birth defects. In 2012, as shown on this map, 250 million preschoolers around the world were diagnosed with this disease by the World Health Organization. But with genetic engineering, it allows to put vitamin A back into the genetic makeup with staple food products such as rice to help the children who suffer. Genetic engineering also helps mitochondrial disease. This procedure consists of swapping out the defective mitochondria with an operating one by a donated egg. The egg is then transferred back into the mother so she can be eventually able to develop a disease-free baby. This process works on women whose disease was caused by mutations in her DNA. This mitochondrial DNA makes up 1 in 300,000 of one's DNA and has 37 genes, but it can still cause problems when and if it becomes damaged.
So as you can see, genetic engineering has many harmful effects on plants, animals, humans, and the environment. These harmful effects include the destruction of economies, the humans developing health problems, and the negative impacts on the environment.
Although it is mainly harmful today, hopefully one day it will do more health than harm.
Genetic engineering has had more positive benefits rather than negative. It has helped improve and advance the studies and practices of agriculture, medicine, and health. It has helped save lives, feed more people, and even advance the human race. To answer the World Health Organization, genetic engineering has been used in many ways throughout history. In 1865, it was used by Gregor Mendel when he recombined peas to make more different traits more prominent in certain plants. And then continued in 1941 by E.L. Tatum and George Beadle when they found a pathway to help people who could not create enough enzyme in their body.
Also, to answer the World Health Organization, genetic engineering has been regulated by many organizations, such as the National Institutes for Health, which met in 1976 to discuss regulations on the newly developed technology. Also, the EPA created the FIFRA, which is the Federal Insecticide, Fungicide, and Rodenticide Act, which monitors the use of insecticides in plants. Also, the FDA created the Biotechnology Regulatory Service, which monitors the health and well-being of plants and animals that have GM products inserted inside of them. And for these reasons, we believe that genetic
Sure, right over here.
In the cons, did you guys say that you take out the good genes and replace them with bad ones?
Yeah, that's what most of the scientists do. They want to get a bigger surplus of crops, or they want to make the animals have better immune systems or be better suited for their kind of environment.
And also, when you're replacing genes in a human, it's usually not known what genes you're actually replacing. So when they think that they're taking out the genes that are causing a disease, they could also be taking out good genes that aren't harming the person.
Did you guys look into the new developing process of basically growing new organs for people who have organ failure, which allows them to have an organ that doesn't fail when they need it.
No.
Tonight?
You referenced that genetically modified or the GMO crops cause food intolerance and brain tumors. And I didn't catch the source of the information. Could you tell me the specific studies or research that went into it? Because I'd actually like to look into that more.
Well, I mean, I don't really know the specific website that I used to find it. I know it was with the World Health Organization in which they found this information.
Oh, you didn't have specific